Here he is, one half of the team, Donnie and Dolly, which has returned to Czech television as of Tuesday from 10 to noon. It is our buddy, Friday regular Canucks insider, Mr. Rick Dhaliwal.
Yes, the first week is in the books for Donnie and Dolly after the long vacation, and pretty quiet week this week, guys, until we got the Danny DeKeyser news this morning.
Right, we'll get to that in a second. First of all, I'm so very glad that you have brought Don over to your side of the wardrobe. Like, I was so pleased to tune in on Tuesday and see Donnie in a golf shirt and not in the full suit, because as we know, you tend to, be partial to those Hawaiian shirts. And so my hope is that if you continue to have influence, it's going to be you and Donnie both in the Hawaiian shirts from the jump.
I don't see Donnie in a Hawaiian shirt, but a lot of compliments about his casual look this week. I got a ton of Hawaiian shirts, and you guys know I went there in Hawaii.
Yes,
and I picked up some more, and this one here is the one I picked up on Waikiki Beach there. Beautiful area, and beautiful shopping there.
Indeed,
and this goes back to Tom Selleck, Magnum PI, and the love I had for that show.
And who didn't love that show? I mean, Tom Selleck.
Very similar
role
people,
model.
really. Tom Selleck and Dolly. Yeah.
Hey, just tell Don, if you can get away with jeans at a wedding, you can certainly get away with a Hawaiian shirt on TV. All right?
No, I don't see him doing Hawaiian shirts. Tom Selleck, by the way, Blake, was named the sexiest man alive in '83 in People magazine.
And you, sexiest man in BC, 25 years running. It's been quite a reign.
No. Hey. I was in radio for a reason. I had looks for radio, believe me.
I noticed a new avatar on Twitter, by the way.
Yeah.
You, looking down at the phone, sort of in your pose, getting texts from sources.
Yeah. You know what I did? I got a haircut, and I thought I looked really
good.
Spiffy.
Just say it. I thought I looked really good.
I thought I looked really good with the haircut. And I thought I'd take a pic, and I threw it up there.
Yeah, good for you.
Thank you for noticing, Blake. That might be the first compliment you've given to me in your entire life.
I didn't mean to. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to.
Yeah, what a shock. Accidental compliment.
Let's get into it. We're talking about that third pair defense now. We thought maybe Calvin de Haan would be an option here. He signs a PTO in Carolina, and the Canucks sign once coveted college free agent Danny DeKeyser, who has played his whole NHL career with the Detroit Red Wings. Tell us what you know, how all this came about, Rick.
Well, first of all, Calvin de Haan, the Canucks did their due diligence, and they, did their due diligence on Calvin de Haan. They've been talking to his agent for a long time, Andy Scott out of Ottawa. De Haan went to a PTO in Carolina. DeKeyser gets the PTO in Vancouver. But I just want to say something about this summer and free agency, Blake and Matt. You still got Tyler Mott out there, Sonny Milano, Evan Rodriguez, PK Subban still out there. I've had a couple of agents reach out to me this week and call it the worst summer for free agency in a long time. Flat cap, causing all sorts of problems. Even these guys like Mott and Milano and Rodriguez, they're not $4 or $5 million guys, and they're still waiting for teams to clear cap space via a trade. Very tough market. It's a very tough time. I did not think Calvin de Haan would end up with a PTO. I thought, talking to his agent over the course of the last 2-3 weeks, that it certainly sounded like, they were hoping to get a contract. There's other defensemen out there. Thomas Hickey's out there as well. It's a tough market right now, guys. And, instead of signing Calvin de Haan, the Canucks went the PTO route with Danny DeKeyser, 32 years old, left shot. I talked to Jim Rutherford about him this morning, and he said it's a player they're hoping a change of scenery helps him. His game's kind of dropped off a bit, but they kind of hoping this PTO opportunity in Vancouver kind of gets him going. It's a depth signing, as we all know. So I kind of asked him, Jim, about, why no right shot D? Why left shot D guy? He said they have a lot of guys on the left side who can move over. Obviously, Dermott and OEL can play the right side. But he also dropped a bit of a nugget, said Quinn Hughes has told the Canucks that he wouldn't mind trying the right side. So it's not like the Canucks went to Quinn Hughes. It's Hughes that kind of said, you know what, if you guys want, I could play the right side. So Thomas Drance feels that, OEL is going to end up on the right side, but they're definitely obviously going to have to move somebody from left to right.
When they say that they are interested in the waiver wire, do they think there's going to be a surprise waiver wire, addition? Do you think that that's like a significant player, or more of what we're seeing here on the PTO caliber sort of thing?
Yeah, the PTO thing, Blake, I think you're correct. So the Canucks have about $1 million to play with, and I asked, Rutherford, are you going to spend it? And I was told this 2-3 weeks ago, they're going to be patient. Sometimes you can get a young player on waivers, Blake, in camp. There's always a surprise, 1 or 2 or 3 guys that go on waivers where you kind of go, oh, he's on waivers. Maybe we should take a chance. But they're going to be patient with that money. And, but I do agree with you, Blake. There's going to be a ton of guys on PTOs. And look, I thought Tyler Mott would be done by now. I'm not saying, he's going to get a PTO. I definitely see him signing. I think there's 4 to 5 teams in on Mott. But because of this market, because of the flat cap, and because of, teams don't have a ton of cap space, maybe somebody pops up on that waiver wire, Blake, that you kind of go, oh, that's interesting.
Did you ask Rutherford, why not a right side defenseman? PTOs cost you nothing. Salaries of $1.125 million or less can be fully buried in the minors. And, in the past, the Aquilini's have been happy to pay that to their great credit. So I just don't understand what's preventing them from bringing right side guys in and creating more competition there.
Well, I'll tell you what the problem is. They only have $1 million. Maybe the guys out on the market that are right shot D are asking for 2.5, 3. Maybe that. Mm-hmm. So, I got into PK Subban, who's the one that if you look at Canucks Twitter and you look at, talk shows all in the Lower Mainland, not a day goes by where PK Subban's name doesn't go up or isn't talked about. I asked Jim about Subban, and he said, we're not going to go in that direction. They have talked about him. They have discussed him. They never called his agent. But I think they got to, here's the thing about Subban, guys. If he came at $750 or $8 or $850, you'd see a ton of teams in on him. Yeah. I don't think that's where his salary demand is. If he was at $800, I'm sure that would perk the ears of the Canucks and 31 other teams. But I don't think his ask is at $8 he's coming off $9 million, $9.5. Yeah. So I just think when you ask about that, maybe the right shot D available in the market are all asking for more, than the $1 million the Canucks have to play with. So
I am wondering about the
I think
PTO.
Cost is
I am wondering a little about the PTO candidates, the Strawmans, the Stones, and guys like that. And look, there's still some time here before training camp, so we'll see.
But hold it, isn't Strawman? Isn't he 35?
Yeah, he is.
Mm-hmm.
But he's variable. If he doesn't ask for terms to, if you can send him down, by all means.
I asked Jim if there's going to be another PTO, and he said you never know. Mm-hmm. He brought up Chason. They like Chason a lot, but they just can't sign him right now. And they love his character and leadership, and they see him down the road as a guy, that could help the kids in Abbotsford, just because he is a really good person in the dressing room. He's a what would you guys call it? A good pro on and off the ice. They really do like Chason a lot. They talk about him quite a bit, but he just said you never know with another PTO. Yeah. So that was interesting.
Ricky, best you can tell, what happened that got JT Miller and the Canucks together last Friday? What was the agent of change there?
I'm gonna tell you that when Calgary signed their 2 guys, to Huberdeau and Kadri, that affected the Canucks, especially Kadri at 32 got 7 years. Miller's at 29. If the Canucks are trying to get JT at 4 or 5 all along, and then Kadri gets 7 years at 32, there's obviously risk with a long-term deal for anyone that's 28, 29, 30, 31, 32. But teams are taking risks to retain good players. You have to do it. And the Canucks basically said, we're willing to take the risk with this player. But if you look at his 7th year of the contract, it is easily bought out. Mm-hmm. I think the hit in his year 7 would be $4.8 million over 2 years. And, so this is a franchise that signed Holtby, signed Virtanen, and then bought him out both a year later.
I know.
Right?
I know.
And that money's coming off the books. Ferland, I know it's an LTI. That money's coming off the books. They're going to have, who was the goalie there last year that his money's coming off?
Halak.
Yeah. Your buddy there, Blake. Halak's, he's coming off the books. So they got a ton of money. Yeah, well, anyways, they're coming off a ton of – they got some good money coming off the books, guys, this summer. And maybe if the cap goes up a little, I think they'll be in a little bit of a better position next year to do a little bit more damage on the free agent market than they did this year.
As soon as Miller signed, Canuck Nation's attention turned to the captain, Bo Horvat, who does not have a contract beyond this season. And there was a time there in July when, the signs were pointing to a Horvat extension prior to a Miller extension. So what's the latest with Bo? What do you think the chances are of Bo getting extended before the season gets going in October?
Well, they're talking, and talking is always a good thing. It's always a concern when the two sides don't talk. So basically, essentially, they're talking, hoping to get a deal done. And guys, look, we did all think, Matt, everybody, all media thought this was going to get done before camp. Everybody said it's on the right track, the whole 9 yards, but there's a gap there. The reason it's not done, there's work to do. Pat Morris, the agent for Horvat, is, he's a veteran guy. Matt, you and I go back with Pat Morris 26 years. He plays everything close to his vest. He's not an agent that's very loose lips with, when it comes to contracts. Mm-hmm. So I think they're working at it. They're going to keep going. The general feeling out there is, Bo's going to cost you a 7 or a little bit over 7. And he's at 5'5". He's coming off 32 goals. If he doesn't break his foot there at the end, could he have hit 40? When you look at we talked to Bruce Boudreau yesterday about the great strength he has up the middle with Miller, Pettersson, and Horvat. The Canucks' strengths are clearly star goalie. You got one star defenseman, and you're strong up the middle. And asking Bruce, is he going to go with Miller, Pettersson, and Horvat up the middle? It's interesting. His comment is it's going to play out. There's always injuries, and last year when the injuries hit, Pettersson got moved to the wing to load up the top six a bit better because of the injuries. He said a lot depends on Mikheyev and Kuzmenko. Can they come in and solidify spots in the top six? And I still think Kuzmenko is going to be the real big wild card for the Canucks this year. Is okay. We're all going to have to guess. Because we don't have a window off. We don't have anything to look at. He doesn't got an NHL window to look at. He's got, he was the top Russian free agent. The Canucks, and I'm going by what the agent said, 25 teams called the agent, and the Canucks won a battle with 24 other teams to land this guy. If he ever becomes a top six regular, that's going to be really great for the Vancouver Canucks. But here's the problem. If he becomes a top six guy, well, guess what? Signing him ain't going to be easy because he's going to be a UFA next summer.
Absolutely.
Right? Because his age coming out of the KHL. So it's kind of like everyone's praying for Kuzmenko to get 20, 25 goals, but if he does, signing him becomes a little bit tougher.
Yep. Ricky, got a bit of an audio problem there, but we're at the end anyway. So you have a wonderful weekend. Have a nice glass of Crown on us tonight, and we'll catch up next Friday, buddy.
All right, guys. Take care.